Now, I am here to tell you guys the moment has came. Early this morning, Kelsey Mitchell sent shockwaves throughout the WNBA today, and the news has broken ground, dog. Caitlin Clark and Indiana Fever will keep their backcourt for the 2025 season.
The Indiana Fever are absolutely onto something special, and if you haven't been paying attention, you need to start now. With Kelsey Mitchell, a walking bucket who can score from anywhere on the court, and Caitlin Clark, who's basically a human highlight reel, this duo is going to take the WNBA by storm. But what makes it even more exciting isn't just their individual skills, it's how they complement each other. Mitchell's ability to score off the ball, catch, and shoot, and space the floor perfectly sets up Clark to do what she does best: create plays out of thin air. Would have been catastrophic for the Fever. But now, with Mitchell back and the addition of coach Stephanie White, the foundation is locked in. Mitchell's off-ball movement and scoring ability give Clark the freedom to orchestrate, and when you have a playmaking wizard like Clark, it's a nightmare for defenses. In her senior year at Iowa,
Kelsey Mitchell re-signs with the Indiana Fever. So the best backcourt in the WNBA is back.
0.2 assists per game, proving she's not just about scoring, she's about making everyone around her better. But it's not just about the backcourt. Aaliyah Boston is an absolute force in the paint. With her dominant presence in the post, the Fever are a three-headed monster that can attack from every angle. Defenses won't know whether to focus on Mitchell, Clark, or Boston. It's like playing a game of whack.
What's up, everybody? Kelsey Mitchell here, and I'm a Fever girl again. So to my fans, to the basketball world, I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to be back. Indy has been good to me, and hopefully I could pour in and give the same. So here's to being a Fever girl.
And here's where things get really interesting. Some people are still sleeping on this team, looking at Mitchell and Clark individually and missing the bigger picture. Together, they're going to elevate the Fever's fast-paced offensive style to another level. Both players excel in transition and can finish well at the rim, making the Fever one of the most dangerous teams in the league.
The best backcourt in the WNBA remains intact because Kelsey Mitchell is back, staying with the Indiana Fever and going back-to-back with that backcourt with Caitlin Clark. Of course, Mitchell had been with Indiana her entire career. There was some speculation that she might want to explore other options, but there's no better option for Kelsey than playing along C-squared, as she calls her.
They're ready to leave everyone in the dust. Last season, the Fever shocked everyone by making the playoffs despite some serious challenges. Now, with Stephanie White, who's already starting to fix their biggest weakness, defense, the Fever are ready to...
Because Kelsey Mitchell had the most notoriety of her career, the easiest time of her career on the court, and now has a chance to compete for championships with that core alongside Clark and, of course, Aaliyah Boston.
Further, they're not just looking to sneak into the postseason anymore. They're building something that could shake up the entire league. The roster is stacked with young stars like Clark and Boston, veterans like Mitchell, and a coach who knows how to put it all together. It's like assembling the perfect basketball recipe, and the rest of the league is going to be caught off guard when it all clicks. And let's talk about that crucial move, keeping Kelsey Mitchell. It might seem like a small thing, but it was the move the Fever absolutely needed to make. Without her, free agency would have been a failure. But now that she's locked in, everything else falls into place. Now, here's the kicker. Everyone's been focusing on the Fever's explosive offense, but the real secret weapon is on the defensive end. Coach White is not only working on defensive schemes, she's got something...
And the idea Mitchell would want to go anywhere else was always a little odd. It was always a little strange because, again, she became a much bigger star. She shined in the role. Her life was made easier on the court, and she gained so many new fans because of how gifted a bucket getter she is.
Into a nightmare for opponents. The secret? Well, you'll just have to wait and see, but trust me, it's coming. When this team hits the floor, they're not just going to play, they're going to make waves. With explosive offense, a solid defense, and leadership from Mitchell, Clark, and White, the Fever are about to become a legitimate
right? Like the downside to losing Kelsey Mitchell would have been tremendous. And now they've got the new coach in Stephanie White, which was obviously a huge, big deal. And they've got that core. And I know I've said this before and I've been hammering the point home, but that foundation is in place.
Get ready, WNBA. The Indiana Fever are coming to dominate, and you won't want to miss a single moment. The offensive firepower the Indiana Fever are putting together is absolutely something the rest of the league needs to start paying attention to. It might sound bold, but are we witnessing the birth of the
She was there when they got the number 1 pick, and Caitlin Clark, obviously not a good team. The team that gets the number 1 pick in the draft is not a good team. That's a general rule. Something you could take to the bank. And then all of a sudden they're in the playoffs.
Trust me, in a few months, when the Fever are making waves, you'll look back at this moment and realize I wasn't kidding. What makes this situation even more significant is that, even without adding any new players, the Fever made the playoffs last year. Let's be real. They could have done even better, if not for some internal issues that held them back. Some might even argue that the team's struggles last season were due to leadership issues.
At the same time, this is a situation that allows someone to be destined to thrive. Destined to thrive. You get to play with a once-in-a-lifetime player in Caitlin Clark, who brings once-in-a-lifetime attention. An organization that knows what they're doing, where you've been, where you're going to be celebrated.
Allegedly asterisk. But now they're ready to prove they're more than capable of competing with the league's best. You might be asking, okay, but can they really take on the top dogs like the Aces? And I'm here to tell you, this team isn't just looking to compete, they're coming for the crown. The Las Vegas Aces better be paying close attention, because there's a new powerhouse in town, and they're hungry. All the Fever need is a solid bench. A good, reliable bench and a point forward who can shoot, and boom, this team is ready. They've got the stars in place, but just a few more pieces, and they'll be an absolute force. However, they're not quite there yet. The Fever still need one key player to take them from a good team to a championship contender. Believe it or not, one player could make all the difference between a quick playoff exit and a championship parade down the streets of Indiana. They need a solid power forward, someone who can rebound, defend, and stretch the floor with a reliable shot. Add that piece, and suddenly you're not just talking about a playoff team. You're talking about a title contender.